Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, welcome back. If you're a returning subscriber, thanks so much for joining me today and for clicking on this video. I hope this message reaches you in a time when you really need to hear it. Got up this morning, I went to Pilates, I'm literally still in my workout clothes, and I just felt really compelled to sit down and record this video. It's something that I've been thinking about for a while, and I just feel like, I don't know, this morning is the time to sit down and just talk about this. And it's going to be a little bit more of a chatty video, but I hope you stick with me because I feel like if you found this video today, it's probably something that maybe you need to hear. It's something that I needed to hear 3 years ago, and a lesson that has really transformed my life since then. And what I want to talk about today is self-love. And I know that this is a popular topic and lots of people have all sorts of opinions on it. So I figured I would add my thoughts into the mix. If you are a returning subscriber, you already know that I don't drink alcohol, that I quit drinking a little over 3 years ago now. And a lot of my videos are about sobriety, but the core message, I hope that comes across in all of my videos, including my sobriety videos, is all about making decisions for yourself and for your life that come from a place of compassion, of self-love, of hope for your future, rather than sort of fear. And this video is not sobriety specific, but can definitely apply to sobriety as well, because for me, all the times that I tried to quit drinking, that I tried to grow out of that stage, even though I knew that I needed to change, that I wanted to change, it wasn't until I approached sobriety from a place of love and compassion for myself that I actually was able to make any progress. It also just got super dark in here. That's the problem with filming with natural light. It looks lovely and sunny, and then a cloud passes and everything goes dark. Whether you're watching this as someone who is questioning their relationship with alcohol and is considering sobriety and watching my other videos, or if you're totally not here for that reason, maybe you are in a stage of life where you're sort of at the cusp of the next chapter, where you feel like something needs to change, where you're ready to let something else go, and you just find yourself kind of stuck in that cycle. And it is my firm belief, change needs to be approached with compassion and self-love. Otherwise, I don't think it can be successful. You cannot shame yourself into growth. You have to love yourself into growth. So let's talk about it. Growth requires safety. You cannot punish yourself into growth. You cannot chastise yourself into growth. You cannot shame yourself into growth. It's really hard to take the next step in growth if you don't genuinely care about yourself right now, whether that's sobriety, whether that's your fitness journey, whether it's recovering from another addiction or an eating disorder, or moving on from a relationship, until you feel safe enough in yourself to take a risk, to try something different, to fail. You're not setting yourself up for success if you're going into trying to change fueled by a self-hatred. Shame fuels that cycle that you're trying to break. It reinforces those negative beliefs that we have about ourselves. In my case with drinking, and a lot of people will probably relate to this, if I had a goal to drink less or to not drink and I ended up drinking more than I said I was going to, I would wake up, I would feel super ashamed in myself. Obviously, I can't do it. Obviously, I'm not strong enough. I'm a failure. I'm never going to be able to achieve my goals. There's something wrong with me. And that just perpetuated the cycle, because then I'd be like, well, I'm already a failure. I might as well continue drinking. For years, I just reinforced this thought that like, I cannot change. There's something wrong with me. I am broken. I'm a failure. And it just perpetuated the cycle that I so desperately wanted to get out of. The same thing goes for less extreme things, right? If you are constantly talking negatively about yourself, you are reinforcing the shame that makes you feel bad about yourself. You want to be that girl, you want to be the best version of yourself. So maybe you spend all of your time internally thinking about all the things that make you not that girl, that make you not the version of yourself that you want to be. You're so focused on that and dislike that part of you so much that you literally can't focus on growth because you're so stuck in that cycle of shame. When it comes to real, sustainable change, it comes from a place of understanding and compassion. You have to understand where you're at now to have any chance of growing from it. Instead of approaching it from a lens of shame and failure, why are you the way that you are? I talk about this in a lot of my sobriety videos. Why do you drink? Like, truly sit down and reflect on, okay, my drinking, my addictions, my eating habits, my negative self-talk, whatever you are trying to grow from, what value does it bring to my life? Because even though it doesn't make sense, all of those things provide a purpose to you, right? For drinking, it might be that it makes you feel more relaxed, it helps you be social, it makes you feel more confident, right? Those are real things that we believe drinking gives us, alcohol gives us. When it comes to negative self-talk and self-doubt, even those thoughts have a purpose. They keep you safe because they prevent you from taking risks or trying something new that you might fail at and then feel even worse about. A lot of times we see our negative behaviors or habits as these burdens, right? Again, that shame cycle, but it's really important to step back and realize what purpose they are serving for you. Because in a very backwards way, when you step away from it, those thoughts, those patterns, those behaviors are trying to protect you in a certain kind of way. That is you trying to protect yourself, even if it's hurting you in the long term. So really understanding why you are at where you are at now, why you believe the things that you believe, why you do the things that you do is critical. And you have to do that from a place of sort of neutrality and be objective and really understand why you are the way that you are right now. Then you open up space for compassion, right? Maybe I'll film a YouTube video one day where I don't get emotional and tear up, but today is not that day. Once you understand where you're at, and things like therapy are so beneficial for this because it allows someone to sort of take your hand and allow you to look at yourself in a way that maybe you haven't previously. Journaling is another really great way to do this, to kind of step back and reflect on things in a more objective way. That's when you kind of get to kneel next to the version of yourself now and say, okay, I see you. I understand why you do the things that you do. I understand why you are the way that you are. But compassion allows for accountability from a place of love. I think one of the really big things about sort of becoming your own caretaker or your own parent, if you're kind of into the reparenting approach, you are responsible for yourself. You are the only person that can change yourself. And for a lot of us, we have to actually learn how to take care of ourselves. Self-love doesn't look like letting yourself off the hook, letting yourself do whatever. Quite the contrary, that compassionate self-love, that inner parent is often approaching discipline with kindness. It is holding yourself accountable because you care and love yourself, not because you're shaming or punishing yourself, but because you know what you need to be the safest, healthiest, happiest version of yourself. And that a lot of times can look like saying no, doing things that make you uncomfortable, being consistent even when you don't feel like it, right? Having that discipline over motivation that needs to come from a place of self-care and self-love. If you constantly have a harsh inner critic who is shaming you, who is criticizing you, who is just infiltrating your mind with this negative self-talk, it may feel like motivation, but in the long term, it just erodes your self-worth. And you need that self-worth as the foundation for your long-term growth. And every time you make a hard decision and say, okay, I know that right now the craving is really strong. I know that you want to give in, again, to whatever that might look like. I know that this is really hard, but I'm going to take your hand and I'm going to hold you and you can do hard things and we will get through this together. This is the kind of narrative you have to start harboring in your heart and in your mind. If you are spiritual, I think this is a really great place where you can kind of introduce prayer or a higher power into it as well. For me, in a lot of really hard moments where it felt like it was too much, where I felt like I couldn't do it on my own, praying for strength and support really gave me hope from a place that was bigger than myself. And again, if that's not something that resonates with you, then you don't have to do that. Over time, with practice, as you get through those hard moments, right? Every time you beat a craving, every time you resist doing something that you know you shouldn't do, that self-love builds resilience. You realize that you're stronger. You learn that you can do hard things. That's one thing to tell yourself that, but every time you get through something hard, you are building that resilience. You feel stronger in your convictions. You understand your why more. And that is a game changer. So I want you to take a moment today, right now, to look at what your goals are, what that next step looks like for you. You know exactly what it is that you're kind of hindering yourself from reaching. How would it look if you approached yourself the way that you would approach a friend, a sibling, a partner who was on a similar journey? The kind of support you would give them, the kind of grace you would give them if they failed, the positive affirmations you would share, the things you would say to help reinforce their beliefs when they doubted themselves, when they said, I can't do this, I'm a failure, I'm not going to be able to succeed. What if you gave yourself the kind of love that you give others? Even if this sounds silly and you're watching this and thinking, this is so dumb, try it. If you've been trying something for this long and it hasn't worked, what do you have to lose by spending the next month or whatever, meeting yourself in the middle, showing up with a little bit more compassion, and really practicing that self-love? I had actually posted this on my Substack during my Dry January series, but I had a lot of quotes that I really drew on in early sobriety to inspire me and encourage me in sort of the difficult moments. And one that resonated with me so much then and still sticks with me is that life is way too short to spend another day at war with yourself. I lost my dad in 2019 to cancer. I know it sounds cheesy, but I think once you experience loss, an untimely loss, an unexpected loss, it just makes it so much more real. I know we hear life is short so many times in so many ways, but still we waste so much time being mean to ourselves, punishing ourselves, living in these cycles of shame, being so focused on all the things that we're doing wrong, all the things that we don't like about ourselves and our lives, all the things that we wish we had that others do, that in reality we are not grasping how short life is. And how precious life is, and what a privilege it is to be here and to grow. And one of the really big reasons that I quit drinking is realizing that I don't have forever. I have a limited amount of time on this earth. I don't know how much time. And I'll be damned if I spend this precious time laying in bed hungover, experiencing my life in a drunken haze, and then shaming myself to do it all over again. For me, loving myself, being sober, choosing to be sober every single day, comes from a place of love because I want myself to experience my life to the fullest. I want myself to take advantage of every minute that I have on this earth. I want to be there 100%, to be present for it, to make those memories. You don't know what tomorrow will bring, so the best time to start whatever goal it is, whatever dream you're working towards, whatever you know you need to do next, now is the time to start. I know that you can, and more importantly, you deserve to. And if there's one thing you take away from this video, spend a little bit of time today meeting yourself in a place of self-love, trying to understand why you are the way that you are, and showing up to care for yourself as your inner caretaker. That's all I have for reflections today, an emotional one, but one I felt very convicted to share. Thank you so much for being here if you did get to the end. If you're looking for encouragement, maybe share what you're struggling with in the comments. Share some words of wisdom if you are in a good place, maybe reflections that you had on today's topic that I didn't really cover that you think would be valuable to someone else. As always, I so appreciate you being here. Perhaps we should close out with serenity prayer, which I feel is very appropriate for today. Feel free to sub in for God if that doesn't resonate. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day or night, wherever you are, whenever you're watching this. If you did enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I'm sending so much peace and love your way. Hopefully I'll see you in a future video, and until next time,